May the love of God embrace you during the next few minutes. I am Father Ron Will, speaking to you from the chapel here at Precious Blood Renewal Center in Liberty, Missouri. As we continue in our Lenten journey, during this fifth week, we are invited to continue to step aside from our ordinary routines and to allow ourselves to have the opportunity for deeper and more personal encounters with God. I acknowledge that there is a longing in my heart for God this Lent. I find myself more eager to get out of bed in the morning and spend some time with God in prayer before other activities start to happen in my day, more eager than I had been in previous Lents. How about you? Well, how's your heart? Is there a longing in your heart for God this Lent? During this Lent, we have heard a series of covenants described, covenants between God and the Israelite people. On the first Sunday of Lent, we heard a description of how God made a covenant with Noah and his family. And he symbolized that by putting the rainbow in the sky, so that every time Noah saw that rainbow and his people, they were reminded of how deeply God was committed to them, and they were called to make a like response to God. A little later in salvation history, God leads the Israelites through Moses out of slavery in Egypt, leads them to Mount Sinai, and there God makes a deeper covenant with the Israelite people. And then God calls Moses up to the top of Mount Sinai, and there he gives him what we call the Ten Commandments on 2 tablets of stone. And they could take those tablets of stone with them. They didn't have to be reminded only when there was a rainbow in the sky, but they could every day have the tablets of stone as a physical reminder of God's commitment to them and their commitment to God. The tablets of stone would travel with them from place to place through that desert experience. And then a little later in salvation history, the prophet Isaiah describes God writing our name on the palm of his hand. It's like a tattoo. We've seen people who have had the name of their beloved perhaps tattooed on their shoulder or on their forearm or on the palm of their hand. And whatever they're doing throughout the day, whenever they see that name, they're reminded of their beloved and they are recommitted to their beloved. And then in today's first reading, the prophet Jeremiah describes how God writes his covenant upon our hearts. Like that song, Deep Within, which says, "Deep within I plant my law, not on stone, but in your heart. Follow me, I will bring you back. You will be my own, and I will be your God." Lent calls us to deeper and deeper experiences of God's love. Jeremiah describes a new level of a love relationship. Israel is moving from a newlywed love to a 40-year wedding anniversary love, a love that has suffered through disappointment and a series of illnesses and still has been faithful and supportive. A love that has seen grandchildren added to the family, graduations, and weddings. This new covenant love has been internalized, written on the heart, not just on a piece of paper, a marriage certificate, but on the heart. During this Lent, we are invited to renew this latter kind of love relationship with God. In order to do that, we have to spend time with God. God longs to hear the sound of our voice each day, early in the day, not just as an afterthought on our way to bed. The Israelites will no longer know about God like I know about a person in history. but they will know God like I know my brother, or better, like a husband knows his wife. This is a deep, personal, intimate love relationship with God. This is the love that God is offering us. During this Lent, we are asked to accept the invitation to encounter God. Are we? Have we grown in those encounters since Ash Wednesday? These deep personal encounters are not just meant for monks and nuns who live in a monastery, but for every one of us. The Catechism of the Catholic Church teaches us that God created each one of us to know God personally. Lent invites us into another growth spurt in that love relationship this week. At the beginning of today's gospel reading, some Greeks were in Jerusalem for the feast of the Passover, and they came to the apostle Philip asking to see Jesus. They wanted more than a front row seat so that they could see Jesus as he walked by. They wanted to meet him personally, to encounter Jesus face to face in conversation. Are we still seeking Jesus during this 5th week of Lent, or have we begun to grow complacent, even forgetful about our Lenten commitments that we made on Ash Wednesday? There is a song that says, "There is a longing in my heart for you, O Lord, to reveal yourself to me. There is a longing in my heart for love. I only find in you, my God." There is also a longing in the heart of God for us. Like a parent who longs to hear the voice of his child each day, God longs to hear your voice each day. So there is a mutual longing. May this week be a special time of personal encounters for you. I invite you to take a minute of silence right now and reflect. What is the desire of your heart at this point of Lent? For what do you long? May God bless you today and throughout this 5th week of Lent.